Look, I do guard myself against being judgmental.
Oh, yeah. You don't want to do a Loonig. You know about Loonig?
No?
Oh, read the papers, do you?
No.
So he put this cartoon about 3 weeks ago, a month ago, of a woman a mum on her phone, and then the baby falling out of the pram and her not noticing. And man, that was electric.
So,
and then that week I had to do.
Was she on her phone? Was the woman on her phone? Is that why the baby fell out? Yeah,
so she's distracted and the baby falls out, and so everyone's attacking Lunic, saying he's against mums, and everyone came out against him. And his son wrote an article, Lunic's son, but how it's affected him. And it affected me because I had to do the school auction at the Fate.
Oh, no.
And we had Lunig donates a print every year, and he donated this really good one. Only went for $1,000 because all the parents all the mums nah, I'm not bidding on that.
It's funny, isn't it?
I know. Bought by an old guy for $1,000, and normally they go for 2 or 3 because it's like an original.
But do you think it keeps him controversial? And if you're controversial, then you've got some edge.
Yeah.
You've got your naysayers and your sayers, and your agreeers and non-agreeers.
Well, I mean, he has a point about modern life, but
why was that so bad, that cartoon?
Well, because it attacked mums. So if it was a mum and a dad, but he seemed to be having a go at mums in particular. And if you're a mum at home with kids, the phone is actually a really good connector to the outside world. And that's how, these days, how young parents stay in touch with each other and stuff. And so,
well, anyway. What's that one where they're watching TV and the sun is setting, or they're watching the setting sun on the television,
and
you look out, the sun setting out the window. So it's a similar idea.
Anyway, you're not like that.
No, I'm not like that. I had lunch with a surgeon.
No.
No, yeah, okay, whatever.
How did he cut the food?
Oh, that's exactly what.
That's what I'd be wondering, how he's going to cut the steak.
Because he ordered steak, and I thought this would be interesting.
Yeah, see how it goes.
And
he struggled.
Well, he's fine with steak. Nothing particularly interesting about it. A little aggressive maybe. But you know what? It got interesting when he tried his corn on the cob.
Oh.
And he tried to hold his corn
he tried to cut it.
Tried to hold the corn on the cob with a fork.
Yeah.
And then cut down the side to remove the corn. And it's flicked onto the floor. I'm going,
uh-oh, dead patient. That's someone's heart.
Yeah, that's someone's heart. Oh. If you just to say you were having lunch, with your surgeon, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Hey, you want to go grab some lunch because we'll do it in a couple of weeks, and then you see him.
He's all fumbles.
Or you go outside and he hasn't parked his car properly, or he's when he's done his shirt up, he's missed a button.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, you'd be like, I don't know about that.
I think I might be busy.
Or his hands are shaking too, because my hands shake a bit occasionally. You're like, oh my god. Oh, that's funny. Yeah. So would you go under the knife by this guy? Or?
Oh.
Well, what sort of surgeon is he, though? Is he a brain surgeon, or you don't want to say?
Yeah, I don't want to say because he might be.
Because osteo, we've talked about this before, but the ones that do the bones are more like, they're
carpenters, yeah.
And anything stomach upwards and bowel and all that, that's messy.
They're plumbers and carpenters. A lot of them will admit that. Yeah. So therefore they go A equals B equals C equals D. And that's what
but the classic brain surgeon that must be very hard to open up someone's brain and go, what's going on in there?
Gee. And the brain you have to go off like, electrodes and, reacting bits and, And they often do, I think they say sometimes do the brain when you're awake.
Yeah, that's disturbing. I mean, you woke up during an operation.
Yeah, I did.
Oh,
that's
horrific.
Yeah, tried to pull the thing out of me. He's waking up. Hit him again.
See, that's a nightmare.
Yeah,
that's a nightmare.
Do you have any professional friends? High level professional friends?
Well, there's a lot of parents at school that are doctors. They seem to be. Did you
ever get a bit of free advice?
Yeah. I said to one the other day. I said, how I've got this mark on my nose here.
Yeah.
And I said to a guy who's an anaesthetist, so it's not exactly his area of expertise, is it?
But can you have a look at this?
I said, have a look at this. What do you reckon about this? Is this like cancer or what is that?
Give me a look at it. It's solar keratosis.
What is that?
It means that's when I came in a couple of weeks ago. I had all my bits burnt off.
Yeah.
They just get a bit of nitric oxide.
Oh, I've had that done. I don't think you can burn this off because this is like a rash. This is a rash from glasses and my sleeping mask, I reckon. because it only appeared once I started using my CPAP sleeping mask. And see, and that's where it rests. So I reckon just all the sweat rests
maybe
there.
Why did you ask then?
Well, I didn't know. He said it looks like a rash. But then I went to
I bet put some steroid cream on it. Have you
tried? I did that. It didn't work.
Oh, that didn't work.
No.
What about hemorrhoid cream?
It's like that old joke about the guy who brushed his teeth with the hemorrhoid cream. Oh, he couldn't speak the next day. I don't know, but I don't know.
Yeah. You don't. You know, what do you get checked out? Should you get it checked out?
Well, I went to a skin specialist,
and he said it's a rash.
She said she's the one who gave me the steroid cream, I think. And then the chemist, George, my local chemist, goes, "That's a rash. It's not." Yeah, like
you can't go to bed every night and be putting on your aggravating with a mask every night.
Yeah, that's what's happening.
Yeah, well, you can't. You're not going to get it both ways.
No, you're not. You're right.
Maybe you put a little cover over it, cover it up at night, and then you won't activate it.
Are you a doctor? You could be. You've given me the best advice so far.
Yeah, because you can get these things that make your nostrils open. They're really good.
Oh, yeah, I've seen them.
Like a backward spring. You put them on, and they just open up your nose, and so you just get all this air coming in. So, I don't know, get something like that.
Yeah, well, I got to do... Anyway, or maybe I'll just have a mark on my face. Do I owe you money now?
Medicare. Just why bulk bill? I bulk bill. Don't worry about it.
That'd be awesome. All right, here's some music.
Hello and welcome to Somehow Related, and now please welcome your hosts Glenn Robbins and Dave O'Neill.
Right, well, welcome to the podcast.
Welcome to the podcast.
It's growing and growing, and thanks for listening. We haven't finished
for listening. Yet. Yeah, we went through a period where we weren't sure whether we could be doing it anymore because things happen, and
you were transgendering. Let's be honest, that's what was going on.
Can't make jokes like that.
Can't make jokes about that. You were considering some changes in your life, and I had a prison term coming up, but that's all been sorted out. Side of the court, we reached a settlement, and we're here.
And we normally have burgers after the show, but we've had burgers before the show because I had to go to my bum class this morning.
The bum class.
And get my glutes going for my lower back, so everything's lining up. So it means if we sound a little bit tired, because we both shared a chopped cheese burger with fries, and I had a coffee.
We should give them a plug. Kelso's, they are in, if you live in Melbourne, they're in Johnston Street in Abbotsford.
Down in Melbourne.
Collingwood, Abbotsford, yeah.
Because we do have listeners all around the world.
Yeah, but if you're just dropping by and you want to go on this somehow related tour, that's where you start off.
The bus does pull up sometimes. And
if you look out to the right there, you'll see Dave and Glenn from Somehow Related enjoying a burger and talking about future programs of the show.
Yes.
Oh,
there we go. Give him a wave. Who was it? Mel Brooks used to talk about that. He would have the bus come around Hollywood and he'd always be on the toilet when he'd hear and there's Mel Brooks' house. He'd be sitting on the toilet. Good times.
Well, yeah, we've told the story when I had to go to the toilet in the back of the Universal train. I don't want to tell that story again. Had to get wee in a bottle. Anyway,
that's traumatic.
And then pour it out while the guy from Psycho was running after the train.
Cop that. We'll get our two topics, and then we're going to try and work out how they're related. So,
two topics are
Pringles and Urns.
What sort of urns would they be? Because there's
they'd be like the
ones you get in the canteen with the hot water.
Oh, the urn, the classic urn. Do they ever get cleaned out, those things?
Oh, you worry about the rust, don't you?
I talked about this on the radio once about hot water systems. So, like old-fashioned hot water systems in the roof, where it's a tank with a coil in it.
Yeah.
Because people ring up saying they make their cup of tea out of the hot water system. And this guy rang up and said, a plumber rang up and said, do not make your cup of tea from that hot water.
Really?
Yeah, boil it if you're going to use it. Because he goes, I've opened up some of those systems and there's been like a family of possums living in there. He said there's
fantastic.
Because they're so, I think of my parents' hot water system. Now, they've been in that house over 50 years. What? And I reckon they've had the tank replaced.
Yeah. It's amazing how long things will last.
Yeah, and so what would that, you would not drink that water.
So what he's saying is you can't put hot water into the kettle.
Yeah, well, you can if you boil it. That's fine because then it sterilises it.
But
some people make a cup of tea straight from the tap.
How you do that? I don't know how you do that.
Oh, I think
it's only warmish. Well, it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be too hot because. I hear what you're saying. Yeah. You can turn your thing right up, and make it hot all the time.
Yeah.
And because ours has got this system on it now that makes it won't allow it to get too hot so kids don't get burnt.
Yeah, of course. But the old-fashioned ones, they're just, my parents' one's so hot when you turn it on.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa.
It costs a lot of money to keep it hot like that the whole time. So
Yeah,
it's really not worth it.
Did you just have one of those tanks that would run out? We had one of them that would, when I lived a
Hey,
flat.
who's in the shower?
Yeah.
Don't take all the hot water.
Yeah. Beach houses had them too.
Well, I'm going back, showing my age. When I was a kid, we used to have a briquette one.
Oh, wow, a briquette one.
Yeah, used to have.
How old are you?
Getting on for mid-70s.
Yeah.
And so Dad would have to get up every morning and put some briquettes.
Stoke the briquettes.
And then and the hot water was really hot.
Yeah.
It worked really well, but without no fire, no hot water.
We used to have a guy come around in an oil truck and fill up the oil heater.
God. We're getting
an oil truck.
We have a few young listeners and they're just going away by
what the hell?
Now. What was an oil truck? I know there's the oil things that come around to restaurants and get the old oil.
Yeah, we see those on the streets. No, this guy was in an oil. We had an oil heater, and he would fill up the oil.
Wow,
yeah, I know, extraordinary. So the oil.
How would he do it?
He had a tanker with a hose.
And he'd walk in and go, "Oh, here comes the oil."
Somewhere in the backyard, he would attach it to something, and then I assume that the oil was burnt or whatever. Because it wasn't hydronic heating, which has water flowing around and getting heated by gas. It was an actual oil. It used to burn oil in the heater in the lounge room. Before, we didn't have gas for some reason. That's extraordinary when you think about it.
It is weird.
I asked Dad about it, actually. Dad will remember.
Well, they don't do that anymore, do they?
No, wouldn't think so.
You can't get one of those down the good guys.
No. Can I get an oil heater? I want the old-fashioned one. Oh, we don't have those trucks delivering anymore.
But
it's not those kind of urns. It's
you reckon it's funeral urns?
Yeah, when you go and your loved one gets cremated, and which reminds me of that old joke. My granddad, he was badly burnt the other day. How bad? No, they don't muck around in the crematorium. He drank a lot. It took 2 days to put out the blaze. That's another one. I mean, I've never got one for a human, but I've got 2 cats at home
Oh, yeah. And you said to me, because you had one and then you forgot to do the spreading of the ashes. Yeah. And I went, I know that when we bring Torty home, we're going to spread that. And it's still on my shelf.
That's your cat, Torty, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, not one.
Yeah, we've got Schnoodle, and Mudgy, 2 cats in separate.
And I was reading about this the other day. Do you know what it is? It's bone dust.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
What about the fur and the fur dust?
A couple of claws in there.
And they always swear that
they
do them separately. They don't do them together.
I know. Guarantee this is yours. This is your cat's. How would they?
How would you know?
How would you know? Because they're going to go. How long is it going to take to do a cat?
Not
it's
long.
a horrible thought, isn't it?
Not long.
But oh God, it's a horrible thought. But the cat goes in, and then got to line that.
You're doing a motion like you're running a pizza oven. You know, if they've got one of those paddles that they a few more minutes, mate. You know, when you go to the pizza shop, a few more minutes, buddy.
Oh, Tiddles is still not quite done yet. So you reckon a whole bag of cats?
I'm just sus on those kind of things where you don't actually know or see the process. No, you got to trust the vet. You trust the vet, but then you don't. You know, the vet hands it on to someone. He doesn't do it.
Yeah, because you would have to say because it's not. Apparently, it's bad for the environment.
But then again, burying animals wouldn't be great for the environment, would it? I don't know.
Surely, no. Surely, it'd be good, source of nutrition for the soil, wouldn't it?
You think so?
I think so.
When was the last time you buried something?
I bury birds. I bury dead birds. What do you do when you find a dead bird on the back lawn?
Well, I put it in, and also
you put it in the rubbish.
Yeah, I put it in a plastic bag, and I also find rats too occasionally.
I
find rats in our compost. And they look really fat. And I reckon they've just gone in there and gone, oh, this is awesome. And then just died in there. They're just gone like a Last Supper. They look really fat, these rats.
Because the minor birds, I think, they're the aggressive ones, aren't they? They're the ones that you can get there's a bounty on them. Is that right?
Yes.
Anyway, in our backyard, they take on other birds and kill them. And I go out and there'll be a little bird on the back lawn.
And you bury them?
Have a little moment, yeah. Go down the back.
You're nice.
Mind you, I think I've dug this because I haven't got much area to
actually
bury.
Dirt, yeah.
No, because you can't dig up the lawn; it's too hard. You got to find a soft bit, and I reckon I've buried a lot of possums. A lot of birds. Yeah. What do you get? I don't want to stink up my rubbish bin.
Oh, true. Okay.
I know every second Tuesday is possum night.
Eat the possum. You live near the beach. Give it a water funeral. Give it a Viking funeral.
So,
I don't know. Urns, yeah.
So anyway, there's a good question. When you do go, and where do you want yours?
Yeah, well, that's a really
Scattered.
good point. I know you've talked about the beach before.
Yeah, but what beach?
Well, you'd have to go down the coast where you surf, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
We'll have a ceremony. I'll probably still be alive. When
Yeah,
you go.
you'll be.
I'm not that much younger of you, and we'll all surf. We'll do it like they did on.
You go for a swim.
Like on Point Break, or what was it, Animal Kingdom? They did it. We'll go out on surfboards and sit in a circle.
Oh, it's in a circle, yeah.
And then someone will make a speech.
Yeah. Glenn wasn't a bad bloke.
Then we'll tip it out. Then it'll go everywhere, like on the movies.
Well, when Russell Coit did it, he stood on top of a cliff and then did a pose, and it blew back into his face.
Yeah, classic, classic comedy.
I think water. But do I want you to stand on the edge and sprinkle it, or do I want you to go out and sprinkle it? Because I think that.
Why don't we compromise off the end of the pier, the end of the Lawn Pier or somewhere?
Off the point at Road Night, because you
Point Road Night.
Oh yeah, but it's too much of a common area.
What if we get attacked by local surfies? Hey, locals only.
Well,
we're like, hey, we're here spreading the ash of Glen Robbins.
That happens at golf clubs. People just love the seventh hole.
They spread the ashes there.
And if you ask, they go, well,
no,
you can't do it because. So what you do is you just have to be pretending to play golf and whack the ashes in the bottom of the bag and get up there and go, okay, well, nobody's looking.
Go now. Say a few words for Tony.
Yeah.
Well, someone was telling me that they got a knock on their door and they said that the house that they bought, they had people had spread the ashes of their parents in the backyard and they wanted to go and pay tribute to their parents.
I don't think it's a bad idea to maybe spread the ashes and then plant a tree in that spot.
My Nana's ashes are in the church in Richmond where she used to go. Nana's and Granddad's. So you can walk
in a
little garden kind of thing.
What,
where they have
spread?
Spread, yeah.
Right.
So yeah, which is good because that church will always be there.
You've got options. But
I don't know where I want mine spread. I don't know. Maybe the backyard, but then again, it could eventually be developed because it's quite a big backyard.
But surely, I don't know, but maybe out the front of a place where you enjoy a milkshake.
Oh yeah.
Maybe a seat where you sat and had your milkshake.
Yeah, yum.
Yeah, you could do mine where I go down by the bay and fall asleep in the car, and you usually ring me.
Oh yes, yeah. Or send it into space, like Johnny Depp paid $1 million for Hunter S. Thompson, the writer who he played in a movie. Yeah, it was apparently $1 million to shoot it into space. But you can do a sort of a slacker version here and just put it in like some like a rocket we used to use. And
it's like they do sometimes at a funeral where they don't do it anymore because it's bad for the environment, where everyone gets a white balloon with a tail on it.
Oh yeah,
and they let them go, and it just looks like sperm. It looks like sperm going up into the sky, and then it
goes to the ocean.
It goes out to the ocean,
a dolphin.
And,
yeah,
and then they make it into a pair of shorts, like I've got the shorts.
Those shorts.
Yeah, that I found a plastic cap up my arse one day.
Yeah, it's terrible. And a Pepsi brand on your backside. Well, I don't know.
Urns, burial.
It is always not confronting, but when you walk into someone's house and they've got one on the mantelpiece.
Yeah. What's that great scene in?
And you're like,
in Parent.
Someone drinks it or something.
Doesn't the
cat knock it off?
Cat jumps up and knocks it off, or something. It lands on the cat or something.
Yeah.
De Niro.
I was like, that's thing of the parents. Yeah.
Meet the Parents.
Meet the Parents.
Yeah. I think that's a. Yeah, that fits the scene anyway.
Yeah.
Urns, okay, we know what they are. The only thing is worth wondering about is when did it first start?
Oh, well, the Egyptians possibly. They had mummies, didn't they? So that's sort of like an urn, wasn't it? Oh, then again, they didn't burn, did they? They didn't burn their bodies. Yeah, I don't know.
It would go back. It would have to go back.
It must go back quite far.
Like, BC.
You'd think it was BC.
You'd think it'd be a BC.
Should we ask Sam? Who invented
burial
urns?
The earliest evidence of deceased's ashes being collected in urns was found in China. Pottery urns dating for about 7000 BC have been found in an early Jiahu site.
China.
Good on you, China.
Well, there you go. They did it first. They invented so much stuff, the Chinese.
Yeah.
Didn't they? Pasta, ice cream, fireworks.
Chopsticks. Who did chopsticks? I don't worry about that.
The Chinese. Running people over in tanks. They've done a lot of stuff. Making 10-year-olds work in factories. They got a lot of stuff going for them.
So they've been around for a while.
What do you think about China? We were talking about this the other day. I don't know. We're talking about the biggest cities in the world. Because you know what's interesting when you go to Europe and you go to somewhere like Berlin or Paris and you're like, wow, I'm only from a small town called Melbourne. Paris is the same population as Melbourne. Berlin's smaller. They're not that big.
Yeah.
And then someone said, look up the top 10 cities and there will be 2 from China that you've never heard of.
Oh, and they're like the biggest ones.
Yeah, they're like 11. There's one, I can't even remember what it's called. It's not Beijing. It's not Shanghai. Some place that's got 11 million people in it. 11 million.
They just keep
and we've never heard of it.
They're embarrassed about it.
They're embarrassed about it.
They don't want anyone to know.
It's incredible.
All
right, well, let's
Urns.
What a job. A great job they do. And what can we say about Urns? Let's move on to Pringles. Because, I don't like Pringles. My dad buys Pringles. He's in his 80s. Now, I don't know. He obviously did not grow up with Pringles because I remember when Pringles came out to Australia, it was the mid-80s. Because I remember buying a packet of Pringles for a girl to give to her.
As a what?
As a present, because they were quite unusual.
They are still, well, they're still quite cool, aren't they?
Yeah, well, when they first came out, but the quality of the chip is no good.
You know why? Because it's wheat and dough.
Yeah, it's terrible.
I think they make it like cake.
It's awful.
But they've made it into that shape so it semi-resembles a chip, but it still goes in the... So if you...
I feel sick talking about them.
If you did have a Pringle, what would you do? Would you go chug it into a bowl, or would you keep it in the Pringle box and go, here, have some?
No, yeah, I keep it in the box, but my dad puts it in a bowl, and the only way you can really eat them is to push 3 or 4 together so it's almost like a chip. But I said to him, Dad, you got to stop buying these Pringles. They're no good.
I'm not a big chip eater.
I love chips.
What's your favourite flavour? Look, salt and vinegar. Chicken.
I love salt and vinegar. I love them all. I actually like a plain chip. I did read this book about this guy in Brisbane who got really fat, right? And then he lost all this weight. And because he researched every food and sugar, bread, supermarket bread's really bad. It's got a lot of sugar. You know all this stuff because you've got a food mop and
map, pop, flop,
whatever it is. And he said, like, Twisties, chicken chips, salt and vinegar, all bad because they've all got sugar on them.
Right.
They've got icing sugar on them, like that kind of stuff.
I heard shapes were the worst. They were the king of the castle.
Well, shapes are baked, though. They're not fried. So you'd have to think. Twisties are baked. Twisties are rolled around in a barrel with oil.
Should be on Mastermind.
Anyway, he said, honestly, and often they're cooked in bad fat, too. So they're cooked in seed oil, which is seed oil. This was the big take-home from his book. Seed oil's bad. Because when they call it vegetable oil?
Yeah.
Like, our chips are cooked in vegetable oil. It's actually seed oil, which is not a vegetable. It's a seed, a canola. And your body can't process it well.
So what does it do?
So, if you have olive oil, it can process it.
Yeah, it loves olive oil. That's
avocado oil. Yeah, olive oil is good. But with seed oil, canola is apparently not good for you. Anyway, this guy said the big take-home, I'm getting to it, plain chips are fine to eat. That was his whole... He said,
plain chips out of all the treats, fine to eat.
And the ones that are made in Australia, like your Smith's ones or your Thins, are cooked in a good oil.
Because here I am thinking, I'm not eating those babies. So when he says, they're fine,
they're fattening.
Obviously there's
no additives or anything in them.
Like we always say, it's a pool scenario. You want to be up the right end of the pool. You don't want to be perfect, but you just don't want to be down the bad end of the pool.
Well, if you've got if you've got a choice between extra tasty cheese corn chips and plain chips are so much better for you. That's what he said.
I don't know whether less bad for you. I think
less bad for you might be the right thing to say.
You know what? I don't
think they're a health food.
I don't like about them is that if you try to dip them, they don't dip. They break. Both the Pringles and the normal chip. They don't. They can't.
But they're not made for dipping.
I know. But if you're there,
who's putting stuff on chips?
But often when you're out having a drink, there'll be you'll go, oh, look, I'll have a chip. And while I'm there, I'll just get a bit of that beetroot.
I've never done that. I've never dipped a chip.
Well, you should try. Never. You should maybe with your plain chip, which is apparently good for you.
Yeah, good for you.
Put some beetroot dip on it, and then it'll be another world for you.
And also, like when you have, you'll have had lunch with Bob Franklin, and when he's British, no, Welsh. When he has a sandwich, he's got to have chips with it.
Yeah, I know. That's an upbringing thing, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's a chip buddy, isn't it?
No,
that's right. Now have a sandwich
with
on the side.
Yeah, with crisps on the side. Yeah, what they call crisps in England. Yeah,
but Pringles are not chips; they're crisps, aren't they? Because I think there was an outcry
That's right.
When they brought them out, saying, "Hey, wool, you're not a real chip. You're dough."
Yeah, they couldn't actually call it a potato chip.
They had to call it a potato crisp.
Yes, I think you're right.
And it was like, well, when they all got together, when the chips weren't happy about it because they're going, because it's made of dough and it'd have to be made of something. It'd have to be punched out of a machine to be in that shape.
Exactly.
Whereas the others are so natural and so good for you.
So good for you.
Yeah.
Pringles make me sick. Get rid of them.
Well,
So,
but hang on. We should have, if we'd known, we could have done a taste test.
Oh, I would know Pringles straight away. Absolutely straight away.
You'd hear what is it?
You'd hear that pop.
Is it a ring pull?
It's like a foil thing now.
It's a foil thing.
I think
so. It
so.
goes like that.
Yeah, and then they've got like a sealable plastic thing to put on top.
That's a good segment. Things that make good noises when you open them.
Yes, that's all
like a good
mystery sound.
Yeah, like that sound of that's fantastic. When you open a bottle of lemonade or something.
Like, I met a guy who did mystery sound for a while on a radio station. Guess what mystery sound got everyone? He said the sound of a petrol cap popping from outside. So you know when you're inside and you push the button, if you've got one of those ones that that sound
top.
He said no one got it because you're all sitting in the car when you do it.
Oh, that's good.
Hey?
I'd have one.
Huh?
I'd have the noise that the what do you call it? The not flexi teller, the ATM makes when your money comes out.
That's a good one.
Because it's a satisfying noise. You go.
I was in this area that's a bit dodgy, and it flashed me back to Paris because I got up and had to try and get some money out, and I was using this ATM in a main street, and this girl came from nowhere and pushed the button and said, "Oh, this ATM no good." And then a dude with silver teeth on a scooter rocked up next to him and went, "We show you a good ATM." I'm just like, oh, this is like something out of it. I know. But the thing was, there was no effort to make to look less dodgy than they look so dodgy, especially with him with his silver teeth.
So you followed him?
Yeah, I went. Yeah, they robbed me.
Yeah, you're a trusting guy.
I just didn't know what the scam was though. Like she pushed the button of the ATM cancelling the transaction.
This one's no good. We'll show you a better one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no worries.
Oh, okay. I'll go with you guys.
Yeah, you obviously know what's going on.
Yeah, obviously both bank managers. All right. Well, Pringles, I can't stand them.
Well, who's on the label?
I'm really upset for Sam bringing them up. Oh, it's like a graphic, isn't it?
It's a bloke's head, isn't it, with a mustache?
Oh, it is too. The Pringle Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like him. He's a good graphic. I don't get upset when I see him. But I tell you what, remember Smith's Chips had the Gobbledook or whatever? That was annoying. Remember that in the 90s? Like a furry thing, and he'd go, Gobbledook, and gobble up your chips. It's one of those ad campaigns where they thought it would just take off, but it was like a bit of a Ronald McDonald where they just went, it's a bit creepy, really. I think it was called the Gobbledook. Smith's Chips Gobbledook.
What's a Pringle?
Yeah, that's a good question. Did they make that name up?
It wouldn't be invented by a bloke called Pringle. Surely not.
Ron Pringle.
It does sound like... Ron Pringle sounds more like a
dentist.
You reckon Pringle? I reckon he owns a hardware.
Oh, yeah.
Pringle's hardware.
What about maybe it's Peter Ringle and they just shortened it to Pringle?
That's clever.
You know how they do that?
Pringle. Oh, it sounds like a suburb, a brand new suburb. Where are you from, Pringle?
Yeah, Pringle. Next to Caroline Springs.
Well, what else can we say?
Pringles, I just really don't like them.
Apparently there are other flavours around the world that we don't get.
Oh, yeah. Well, the classic ones here are plain. I know the flavours. Cheese and onion. Cheese and onion, is it?
I think so. I know.
No, sour cream. Sour cream.
Yeah. I know you can get, and you'd love this, shrimp.
Oh, prawn.
It must be real because it'd be real shrimp flavour, wouldn't it?
Of course. Well, when you go to other countries, there's chip flavours that, like they have in Europe, they have paprika flavoured chips. Oh, they're beautiful. You want to try some of them?
That's interesting, isn't it? When the first time you go overseas and you try the new flavour, like when you go to a department store. In the US, when I go to a department store and the different chocolates and the biscuits and you go, oh, so good.
It's a whole other world.
Well,
and it's also interesting how different countries have different priorities. And like if you go to Holland, the cheese aisle is massive, huge. They've got a huge cheese aisle.
Yeah, that's tempting, isn't it?
Yeah, in France, what have they got? They got a lot in France. Oh, it's a lot of wine and cigarettes. Anyway, Well,
think music. I've got an interesting one because we could go with the scene from, and I don't remember the scene from. Just what is it? The Parents one.
Yeah. Ben Stiller.
Ben Stiller. Where something happens where the ashes fall off. I don't know whether it's that funny. Or, and this is good, there's a scene in Seinfeld where he's at a wake and he goes over and he takes a chip and he double dips a chip.
Oh, I love the double dip.
So it's a double winner.
Yeah.
We can have the wake.
And the chip.
And the chip. And the guy comes over and berates him.
I think you've nailed it.
Yeah. So...
I think you absolutely nailed it.
I think we'd like to hear that now. Thanks, Sam.
What are you doing? What? Did you just double dip that chip? Excuse me? You double dipped the chip.
Double dipped? What are you talking about?
You dipped the chip, you took a bite, and you dipped again.
So?
That's like putting your whole mouth right in the dip. Look, from now on, when you take a chip, just take one dip and end it.
Well, I'm sorry, Timmy, but I don't dip that way.
Oh, you don't, huh?
No. You dip the way you want to dip. I'll dip the way I want to dip.
Give me the chip!
Hey!
Jerry Seinfeld, good friend of yours. In fact, we had lunch at Mario's restaurant the other day.
Oh, yes.
And the guy was...
Mario's restaurant in what street?
Brunswick Street,
Fitzroy in Victoria.
It's great food.
Great food. Great restaurant.
Yeah. Well, gee, again, you can go on the somehow related tour. You go to Kelso's and you go Then you go to Mitcham, to my parents' house.
Yeah.
They'll welcome you.
And you want to come here, they're architects.
Studio here in Fitzroy.
They're architects working at the front of the studio.
And then make your way down the beach and you'll see Glenn surfing.
No, I was sleeping in my car by the water.
Who's that old man? Oh, that's disgusting. What's he doing? And anyway, Seinfeld tried to book at Mario's. It was a famous story because I remember when they say, no, we don't take bookings.
He said no. And he rang up and said, I want a table in the window. I have to be looking out the window or in the window. Something. And they're going, we don't book tables. And he goes, but I want a table. No, we don't book.
And this wasn't Jerry. This was one of his people.
Yeah. And then
they rang 5 times.
Yeah.
And then eventually the doorman from the hotel rang abusing one of the Marios in the restaurant.
Saying, how dare you?
How dare you? And he just hung up and went, ugh.
And then walked out to the table outside, and the gossip columnist was sitting at a table, and he's quite angry and
told the story and
got in the papers the next day.
Oh, went worldwide, that story.
Oh, worldwide, that's right.
Jerry being turned down by a restaurant.
Geez, my story didn't go worldwide.
The one about you sitting in the car?
No.
By the beach?
No, with me and Jerry.
Oh, you and Jerry, yeah.
It's too long a story. We could devote a whole podcast to that.
Oh, I'd love to hear it.
Well, maybe we'll do a special.
I know
but then again, Jerry might hear it. He might get angry.
What? Do you really reckon he's listening to our podcast?
Maybe.
It might have Google word search where every time his name gets mentioned, pop.
Yep. Not that it was Jerry didn't do anything wrong. His management did.
Oh, I've heard he's managed. It's very hard to talk to him, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because I did an ad for bowel cancer, whatever. And I had to sit on the toilet, and I said, I'm not dropping my pants. I do have some standards. I'll read the newspaper, but I'm not going to actually drop my pants.
Well, how can you sit on a toilet and not drop your pants?
Well, it's an ad. It's like it was a toilet in a studio. Everyone knew it wasn't piped up. If I have to say, once you actually sit on a toilet, you do get urges. You know what I mean?
Your body
just goes, oh, we're going, are we? Like, no, we're not going. And the director of that said, yeah, I've directed a few comedians. I did the Jerry Seinfeld Newcastle bank ads.
Right.
He was famous for doing this small bank ad in Australia, Jerry. And I said, oh, what was he like? He goes, I don't know. I didn't get to talk to him because he had to go through 3 people to talk to him.
Yeah, who was saying that the other day at lunch? Maybe it was you telling that story. You've only got 2 stories, and you tell.
It's like when I have to speak to you, I have to go through 3 people.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
You're busy, man.
So we had to think music.
We've got to come up with an answer.
Come up with an answer. I'm going to have a crack.
You go on.
I'm going to say, because remember how Coca-Cola goes to third world countries,
yeah,
and then they send nappies along as well. Is that right? No,
They
they
send
send
diarrhea tablets.
Diarrhea
Diarrhea
tablets,
packs,
that's right.
yeah.
On the distribution. I reckon Pringles are in the third world. And I reckon that on occasion they use the Pringle canister to put their ashes in.
Oh, wow.
Maybe they take the paper off and it looks pretty good.
Yeah, I've been to the third world. I didn't see any Pringle containers, but I went there a long time ago, so I don't know. Look, I reckon that someone's a Pringles lover and they've turned their ashes into a Pringles container.
Into a container.
Into a container. And so when you walk in, you see the container and you go, oh, I'll have a Pringle. Oh, that's
hang on. So
that's Gary's ashes.
So you turn ashes into a container
Well, you
and
can.
put chips in.
Yeah, because you can turn ashes into like a liquid or a paper. Of course you can. I think so. Anyway, what's the answer?
We're somewhere close.
What's the answer?
Pringles can inventor Frederick J. Bauer was so proud of his creation he requested his children to bury him in it. Bauer passed away on March 4, 2008, and his family put some of his ashes in a Pringles can and the rest in a traditional urn.
Well, why would why
Well,
wouldn't
you're
you
sort of close.
Why wouldn't you do that? I mean,
If you invented the Pringles,
if you invented the Pringles,
You have been listening to Somehow Related with Glenn Robbins and Dave O'Neill.
yeah, but that must be confronting for people that come over to his house and the wife's sitting there and the kids and they're like,
don't
"Ooh."
mix up the jars of Pringles.
We know he'd have a ready supply of Pringles, wouldn't he? If he was the founder and inventor of the Pringle,
chip man. If you went round there,
you'd want chips.
you'd want chips, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
And what if you went round there, you had a drink, and you go, "Sorry, I haven't got anything." You go, "Are you kidding me?"
Yeah, are you kidding me? What about that thing on the mantelpiece?
No.
That's Gary.
That's Dad.
That's Mr. Pringle.
That's Mr. Pringle, and his ashes are in that. Salt and vinegar. Yep, absolutely.
He got seasoned on the way out.
Because I guess if you put a bit of salt and vinegar in there, you'd prolong it a bit, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I wonder if they used the oven at the Pringles factory to do him. You know,
That's an interesting idea. And I wonder if he's chopped up into slices like
a Pringle. What about the minutes of silence as he went into the oven? All right, guys, this is maybe they hated him though.
That's an interesting idea. If you could maybe come out, for example, you can be made into water now if you want, as we've talked about before.
Yeah.
You can be made into ashes. If you could be made into like a cake and everyone could eat it.
Oh, no thanks.
Okay. Well, think of another one. Maybe it could be made into a statue to put in the garden.
Yeah, nice. I like it.
And maybe it could be. What about one of those things that jingles in the wind? A wind chime.
Oh, wind chime. That's annoying.
Yeah.
But if you were an annoying person in life, you can still be annoying. You can annoy your partner in your death. Oh, God, he's still
A necklace,
going.
maybe.
Yeah.
Something to hang off your key ring.
Yeah. A shoe sole. An insole. A belt.
A bottle opener.
A pendant.
Yeah.
Something nice.
Something.
Well, good on you, Mr. Pringle. Well done.
Mr. Pringle and Mr. Urn.
You know, my favourite joke of all time is about chips. This is fish and chip shop joke, though. Have you heard this one before?
No.
Okay, so you probably have. I don't think I've ever told on this podcast before, but a guy goes into a fish and chip shop. He orders some chips and a bit of fish, right? He gets it served up to him. He takes it outside. He goes and sits on the park bench, opens it up. He's not happy. He goes back into the guy and he goes, "Hey, mate, was this fish alive when you gave it to me?" The guy goes, "No, why?" And he goes, "Because it's eating all my chips." I love that joke.
Do your kids love that joke?
Yeah, they love that joke.
Because you're famous for ringing me up, and when I've got a story,
Yeah, you put you on for the kids in the
put
car.
me on the speakerphone, and I've got to tell the story, Glenn, about the time that you uncle or something.
Oh, they love it, but I don't appreciate the invoice you send me afterwards.
It's only fair. It's quality stuff. I now can't do it in my biography because I've given it to you.